what to expect about neurons. So neurons are basically cells in our brain that help transmit impulses that basically sends messages to different organs of the system, telling our body to do different things and to respond to different things in different ways. And this is essentially how we are alive, because we don't have cells that contain our DNA, which is our genetic code. We don't have the formation of various proteins to carry out different things. We don't have a mitochondria in the cell to be able to produce energy. We don't have mechanisms to remove waste out of the body and to also receive oxygen into our system. And we don't also have these different ions, which are basically atoms that gain or lose electrons. We don't have all these different things to help with our cell, specifically in this case, the neuronal cell. We would all literally be dead and cease to exist. We'd be extinct. So here we have some ions. We have calcium, which is voltage gated, meaning that it opens and closes based on the gradient, based on the concentration outside and inside, in terms of the chemical sets, like physically, and also in terms of the charges and the affinity of that as well. And these channels are basically these are membrane proteins. They're different type of proteins. You have enzymes, you have hormones, you have neurotransmitters, you have membranes, you have different type of proteins that are basically derived from amino acids that are, of course, being translated. That was first derived from RNA, which derived from the DNA in our cell nucleus, and that's pretty common within all cells as well. Then you have sodium. So sodium here is an ion. Sodium here, as you can see, has a positive charge, and that derives from it losing its electrons and having more protons than it does electrons, because everything at the basis of it is on an atomic level. And so usually, here is the presynaptic and this is the postsynaptic. So this is the one sending the impulse, as you can see, the arrow showing it here. So you have more, it's always going to be more sodium outside and more potassium inside. And potassium has been found through research to inhibit neuronal cell activity, and sodium is to inhibit it. So you have these sodium that's, just floating in the randomness of, I don't know, the fluid or whatever outside of these cells. And then these gated channels, based on the gradient of it, opens up to allow those sodium ions to get in. This postsynaptic, I would say this is the dendrite, this is the axon terminal, to be able to, let that in, so it can help give it that charge to be able to then carry, I guess, for example, these are various neurotransmitters. I don't know specifically which one these are, but these neurotransmitters, of course, carried in vesicles that then combine with the outer membrane of the cell, that then open up and release these neurotransmitters that then are selectively absorbed within the postsynaptic cleft. So this is the cleft here, this is the cleft here, and this is the dendrite of the other nerve cell. And these tubes are called microtubules. So they're basically made of tubulin, these basically small circles that wind up in the form of these long tubes that extend from its center, and then they literally usually go all the way to the membrane as well. It also helps give the cell shape, helps with movement, and also these vesicles. Most times vesicles are formed from Golgi apparatus or endoplasmic reticulum further up into the cell body, and then they form like these little protein circles with like a hollow inside. And then that allows for these different proteins, which are in the form of neurotransmitters, to move along. And then you have, I don't know if they mention it here, but there is a protein, a motor type protein called kinesin, which helps move vesicles toward the membrane part of the cell. And then you have the dynein, which helps move it towards the center of the cell. So the dynein would be important more so, I've noticed through my study and research in like cell division and cell replication, while this deals with more like exporting proteins and so like that outside of the cell or to other parts of the cell that need it. So that's kind of what that shows here. So cleric schematic replication, and then you see that the more sodium is going inside, the potassium will obviously subsequently move outside.